Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Speaking Sessions podcast. I've got Brad Varnell here. He is the founder of the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. Now don't turn away just yet. I know crypto can be controversial for everybody, but I promise this guy is a great guy. He loves crypto and he wants to help people out. But he is an entrepreneur, investor, coach, speaker, and philanthropist. He is on a mission to help thousands of people create freedom in their life. He resides in the Las Vegas area and is passionate about helping folks create significant wealth and freedom through his expert cryptocurrency investing strategies. He believes everyone has a lifestyle that is how you should choose to live it. Not just live your life, but live that lifestyle that you choose to live. And I believe that's going to be through crypto. But Brad, we met through Apex. It's been awesome getting to know you over the past week or so. And you're kind of a breath of fresh air, man. It's always good to get on the conversations with you and talk. It always makes me smile, get back energetic and everything. But welcome to the show. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me, Philip. It's really an honor. I've really enjoyed getting to know you too. And likewise, man, every time I talk to you, I end up being a little bit more spring in my step and a little bit more ready to take on the world by the time I'm getting off. So I have a long story, but I'll try to make it short for you guys. Once again, my name is Brad Varnell. I founded the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel about a year ago, but my story starts way, way, way back as a kid when my dad, who owned his own business, always taught me from a young age to not trade time for money, to own my own business if I wanted to get paid what I was worth rather than what somebody else told me I was worth. And so I struck out into the world wanting to create financial freedom, wanting financial independence in my life. And I did everything from car sales, managed tanning salons, and I actually ended up in Las Vegas dealing poker at some of the most prestigious casinos in the world. I worked for the MGM Grand, the Wynn, the Venetian, all the while trying to figure out what it was that was going to create freedom in my life. And so in 2017, I had a business associate that I had worked with in a network marketing company, somebody that I really trusted a lot, that I know had had a lot of success, that really came to me and wanted me to get involved in the cryptocurrency, cryptocurrency investing, Bitcoin and Ethereum. And like a lot of you, and like Philip said, some people, when they hear cryptocurrency, they shrivel up and they turn away from it. It doesn't necessarily create positive feelings. But I was kind of the same way. I was resistant to it. I kind of stood back and watched him, and he turned $9,500 in 2017 into $2.2 million by the beginning of 2018. And that got my attention. And I just dove in head first and let him mentor me and teach me. And over the course of the next couple of years, I lost all my money. Not really lost all my money, but for anybody that's aware, the bull market ended in January of 2018, the last bull market, and I jumped in December of 2017. So I got 1 month, just a little taste of some success. But it was really a blessing in disguise. I know that Philip and I are a lot about mindset and believing that everything happens for a reason. I really like Ed Milet saying that everything is happening for us, not to us. So what was wonderful about those 3 years, 18, 19, and 20, where everything went down, was that it gave me an opportunity to better myself and to really learn and educate myself on cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, rather than just getting lucky by investing a few $1,000s into a token and becoming rich, which I don't really think would have been good for me. So fast forward 2021, everything came roaring back. And I made more money because the one thing that I was able to do in 18, 19, and 20, even though I was losing on everything I bought, is I positioned myself to where I didn't have to sell it. So I held everything, even though I was down 75 to 95% on a lot of my positions. I still had it all. And when crypto came roaring back in 2021, I made more money in about a 6-month period of time than I'd made probably the rest of my life combined. And so at this point in time, my wife and I, we don't have jobs. She was able to quit her job. I retired from dealing poker in 2019, probably a little sooner than I should, but I wanted that freedom, and so I got it. And now, I'm just kind of trying to pay it forward. So the reason that the YouTube channel exists is because my mentor unfortunately passed away unexpectedly at 57 years old and never really got to see. He passed away right at the end of 2020, right before the great big huge bull market of 2021, and never really got to see the fruition of his dreams. And so I want to pay it forward. I want to help other people the way that he helped me, and help other people to achieve that freedom in their life, whatever that may mean to them.
I love it. And there's so much to unpack there. But I want to start with the first question that I always ask, which has nothing to do with the intro, but thank you for the intro. What got you to get over the fear of public speaking? Or how did you overcome the fear of public speaking?
Well, for me, it was starting at a young age. I had a dad that taught me how to sell. When summers came around, I was the kid that was out knocking on doors, asking people if I could mow their lawn for $10 and that kind of stuff. So because he always taught me that sales was such an amazing skill to have, I learned to get over my fear of talking to people at a fairly young age. And then it really comes down to, personal development. My dad, one of the best things that he ever did for me was when I was about 12, 13 years old, he started paying me, $5 or $10 a book to read books like Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And so I had a pretty good head start in the world because of those things. But when it really comes down to it, no matter how much experience you might have, when you get up on that stage, there is a fear. And really, what I have found is the only way to get over it is just to do it. There's a book out there called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways. And that's really what it came down to for me, was scared to death, but still just did it. And at this point in time, most of those nerves are gone. But I'm sure if I stood up in front of a big enough audience on the right kind of stage, I would have all of those butterflies and I would be tense. And, I just found, I guess, one other thing, like when I'm doing my YouTube channel, sometimes even now I'll sit in front of my camera and kind of freeze up. And I'll sit there for 30 minutes thinking about what I'm going to say. Oh no, that doesn't sound right. But what I found is action. Action. As soon as I say, hey guys and gals, this is Brad Varnell from the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel, boom, I'm in that mindset and I'm speaking. So it really does come down to just doing it, whether you're scared or not.
And that's such a good point. I'm glad you bring that up, that sometimes you sit in front of the camera, even though you're doing it all the time. I know with the YouTube channel, you're doing pre-recorded videos and you're also doing live videos. And I'm guilty of that myself. I do a lot of videos on social media as well. And sometimes I'll either, oh man, what am I going to talk about? And I don't know if this is going to sound good, or I'll literally record, even if it's a 30-second video, I'll record it. And that's a lot easier to record multiple times, but I'll record it multiple times because I'm like, I didn't really like how that sounded. Now, if it's a 10-minute video, I'm probably gonna be like, you know what, whatever. But with a 30-second video, sometimes I'll still judge myself as well on that. Be like, I don't know, that doesn't sound good, or just hesitant to get on. But just like you, as soon as I get started, I'm good to go. I'm in the zone pretty much as soon as I finally get started. That's really, I think, a lot of people where they're at. If they just get over that initial hump, they can actually be fine. But it's interesting. You said you started at a young age with sales and everything. So I feel like that probably helped you a lot to be comfortable with being uncomfortable in front of people. Is door knocking is an uncomfortable thing, but when you're 11 or 12 years old, you're not thinking, you're just thinking, hey, I want some money to go buy a bike or go buy a candy bar or something like that. So you could care less what those people think. And of course, your dad paying you to read books. That's really awesome as well, and something I want to do with my daughter when she gets old enough. And I just think it's really cool that you had all those experiences, which really, in my mind, probably did help you be able to get over the fear of public speaking more than other people that had to wait till they're in their 20s or 30s or 40s. Especially the older you get, the harder it is.
Absolutely.
Well, so I do want to go back real quick. I think this is very unique. I haven't ever talked with anybody that has been a dealer or worked at the poker tables in Vegas or poker tables in general. So I want to ask, how was that? That's very interesting that you did that.
Right. Well, I tell you, if you have to work for a living, dealing poker ain't a bad way to go. So, I was born and raised in Washington State, and I actually started dealing poker there in 2002. And then I came out to Las Vegas for the World Series of Poker in 2003 and dealt at Binion's, which is no longer, doesn't have the World Series anymore. But I dealt the year that Chris Moneymaker won the World Series of Poker and kind of created the poker boom. But I always wanted out of Washington. It was too rainy. I liked my sunshine and my palm trees and my swimming pools. And so in 2007, I made a phone call to a contact that I had made at that World Series of Poker. I was told, hey, if you can be here in a week, you've got a job. And that was at the MGM Grand. So I packed up my stuff and I headed for Las Vegas. And, but yeah, dealing poker, there's quite a bit of freedom. Easy to get vacation, easy to get time off when you want it. If you want to work 2 or 3 days a week, that's possible. If you're in a full-time position, you can do that too. But there's a lot of flexibility, and money wise, it wasn't bad money for well, I wouldn't call it an unskilled job because it does take a lot of skill in a lot of ways, but it's not the same as being like a doctor or a lawyer. But you could make, if you really wanted to work hard, you could make $60, $70, $80,000 a year dealing poker, which for the type of work that it was inside, nice air conditioning, it was pretty cool. Plus you got to deal to some of the famous people. I've dealt to Phil Ivey and Daniel Negreanu, and a lot of those guys over the years have kind of come through my table. So you have some pretty cool stories to tell. Phil Hellmuth. In fact, Phil Hellmuth was like, oh, thank God. When I got up from the table, I beat him in a couple of hands, or he lost a couple of hands when I was at the table. And, but yeah, so I've had a lot of fun with that. That was a great experience.
Man, I bet that was really neat. And so you mentioned about being at that job and then leaving a little too early. I feel like a lot of people, especially trying to become entrepreneurs or trying to get into something new, they often get so excited and they want to make this jump. And sometimes it is too early. So would you change that if you could? And how was that experience? Because you did in your mind jump a little too early.
Man, that's such a great question. And I really don't like to have regrets. Most of the things in my life that I maybe wish I had done differently, I don't necessarily think if I had the chance to go back and do it again that I would do it differently. This might be one of those things where I would go back and do it differently, because it was a decision that affected my wife, it affected my kids, and we did pretty well. Things were fine, but they were nowhere as near as good as they could have been. And then also, because I was living off of some of my crypto investments, when the boom hit in 2021, I didn't make anywhere near as much as I could have. Even though it did very well, I could have done substantially better because A, I would have had all of the crypto that I spent on life, and B, I would have been able to invest more during those couple of years. The other thing is there's that hunger. I think we talked about this a little bit, or I talked about it with somebody recently, and I was telling them you almost want to stay at your job for too long, because it keeps you hungry. There is definitely, I'm searching for words, but when you finally get that freedom, a lot of people have a tendency to take their foot off the gas pedal and kind of take a deep breath and go, oh man, I made it, start getting up at noon and enjoying life. You're your own boss, nobody there to tell you what to do. So yeah, I think that most people would be better served to keep their full-time job and keep their bills paid until their business is really, really, really to the point where it's really, like maybe double or even triple what they're making from their job. Where a lot of people are like, hey, I think I could probably cut back a little bit, and they want to quit their job and start their, full-time business when they're only about halfway to where
Hmm.
their job was.
Interesting they say double or triple your income. Why is that? Most people I would say would probably try and match maybe just a little bit more because maybe you're kind of like, oh, okay, now I've got to pay taxes. I have to pay my own insurance, the full thing or whatever. But double or triple, why double or triple?
Well, I don't think that most people are probably going to listen to me on this, even though I think it is a good idea, and in my opinion, I think it's good advice. But the reason is normally with entrepreneurship, there's a lot more, bumps in the road. Like you've probably seen that meme where it says, from point A to point B, and it's just
Mhm.
what you think it is going to be, and it's just a nice straight line. And then underneath it, what it really is, and there's a hill, and then there's a crater, and there's a big mud hole. And in entrepreneurship, there's things that come up that will maybe cut your income back for a short period of time. There could be
Mhm.
something that comes up where you have an incredible opportunity to expand, but in order to do that, you need to feed the baby, we call it. When you're building a business, most of the money that you're making from that business should get reinvested into the business. And
Mm.
so if you pull that plug of the full-time income too soon, you can put yourself in some precarious positions to where all of a sudden what you thought was 100% of your income turns into half. Or like I say, you want to take some of this income that you're making from your business and double or triple your business with an investment or with something that you can do, and you aren't able to do that because the funds have to go to your life.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And that's we actually did talk about some of this, and that's where I'm at right now. I was always kind of like, oh, as soon as I can get out of the job, I'm getting out of the job. And then as I got to think about it more, I'm like, well, maybe I can free up some time and still keep the job to keep that stability of that income as I build up the speaking coaching business and hire a VA or hire somebody to do more of the marketing, things of that nature as I get to that point in the business. And so it probably will end up being for me, you just happen to say it, but it probably will be probably 2 to 3 times my income before I do leave. And I've always said I need to at least get 1.5 times. Like internally, I've kind of said that this first time really saying it out loud, but definitely wanted to cover more than my income because I know there's going to be some of those expenses. But I appreciate a little bit of that wisdom there as you left early, you had to find out. And so I'll learn and not have to find out from you, which is a great thing about books, great thing about conversations like this podcast is that you can learn from people's successes and failures so that you can do things to help yourself be more successful and not have to go through the same failures yourself. Yeah, School of
Amen.
Hard Knocks. It's nice when you don't have to go through it, although that School of Hard Knocks will teach you a lot.
For sure.
Yeah. So let's switch over to the YouTube channel. I know we talked a little bit offline, and it's still a number that is significant. It may not be where some of the other crypto accounts are, and I totally get it. We all do this whole comparison of everybody, but you have about 3,200, a little over 3,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. You do pre-recorded and live videos. So tell us a little bit of how you feel differently on pre-recorded versus the live videos and how your audience engages. Or I'll be a little bit more specific. So when it comes to doing a pre-recorded video versus a live video, how do you structure those videos, if you will? I know live it's a little bit harder because you might have people actually speaking back to you, but how do you go about structuring those? What's the difference for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the live streams, there is definitely a lot of back and forth between me and the people that are on the live stream. It is usually a little bit more from the hip. I will have a topic in the title that kind of, goes, that I want to touch on. But a lot of times my live streams will go anywhere from 15 or 20 minutes all the way to as long as an hour, and that kind of depends on the interaction with the
Mhm.
people that are there. If they're continuing to ask questions and make comments and interact with me, I usually end up going pretty much as long as they want me to. If it's a day where there's not a whole lot of activity and I'm kind of talking to myself on a live stream, I'll wrap it up a little bit quicker. The biggest difference is when I do the recorded videos, they're more specific. And
Mm.
normally, even though I'm involved in cryptocurrency, mindset is very, very important to me, because I've seen a lot of people, whether it be in crypto or, as we all know, like the athletes and the movie stars, that make all of these tens of millions of dollars, that end up in bankruptcy, that end up even unhappier in a lot of cases than they were before they had all of the success. So one of the things that I really try to impart, some of the knowledge and some of the wisdom that I've gotten over the years, is how people need to really work on themselves first, make
Mm.
this shift inside their head. You have to start thinking like a wealthy person in order to create long-term wealth. So with my structured videos, I'm usually doing a video that's about one particular cryptocurrency. So I do what's called like a deep dive video, where I really break down why I think this token could potentially be a good spot for somebody's money. And so those ones take a little bit longer to prepare for, but they're usually only recording, say, for 10 to 15 minutes, because people, are busy. You only got a kind of a short window of time. If somebody looks at your video, sees that it's 37 minutes long, they might skip over it and go to
Mm.
that 9 or 10 minute video. So there's a lot to pack in a shorter amount of time. One of the great things about the recorded videos, though, is you can go in and edit them. So if you say something that doesn't make any sense, or you start stuttering over your words, and you can you can go back in and edit some of that stuff out. So I'm blessed. My son is 16 years old, and he's actually my editor. He's kind of my business partner on this YouTube channel. So
Nice.
he does all of the graphics and all of the text and all of the cool stuff, and I just get to go on and do the talking.
Oh, lucky you. That's one thing I dread, is doing editing. So I don't do a ton of editing on my YouTube channel, and it's definitely nowhere near where yours is at. But yeah, it's still fun. It's definitely a challenge with the YouTube channel, and obviously with the pre-recorded ones. You're right. You can go in and edit. So if anybody's worried about, oh my gosh, they're so good, half of them edit so much of it. I mean, you probably edit a good amount. I know I have to edit a good amount as well. Sometimes I'll just sit there and I'll just keep recording, but I'll just start back over with whatever couple of paragraphs I was talking about there, and then I could just go cut out the other one. It makes it a little bit easier for me on the editing side. But I do that as well because it is difficult. But you want to make sure those pre-recorded videos are nice and polished. That's a big thing there. But I want to go back. This question I had for you on the live streaming. So you mentioned about having a topic, title, which is obviously your topic in mind. And that's the difficult thing, especially for people starting out when it comes to live stream, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, wherever you're doing that live streaming at. When you don't have a lot of people engaging, when you have people engaging, it's awesome. I've been there before where people are there, they're engaging, it's amazing, and other times they're not. So how do you continue to talk the whole time, and how do you make sure that you have enough content where it's not like 5 minutes of a live video because nobody's engaging?
That's a great question. So part of the reason I do the live streams is because, like you mentioned, putting together the polished video, doing all of the editing, sometimes that can take a while. And then, I get busy with life, and I have my moments where I will knock out 4 or 5 videos in a week. And then I'll have times where it's been a week or two since I've done a video. One of the things that I could definitely improve on is my consistency. But sometimes I do a live stream just because I'm like, man, it's been a week. since I've done anything for my audience, I need to just hop on and get out there and do something, even if it is a live stream. Because I will say the live stream videos do not get anywhere near as many views overall as the more specific, polished videos do. So where, say, maybe I get 50, 60, 100 views on a live stream, if I do a really good deep dive on a token, I might get 2, 3, 400 views. So there's a big discrepancy in the amount of views. So I need to do more of the polished, more, concentrated on one token type of a thing. But what I'll do is I'll usually just look at the current markets, and I'll see, if it's headed up, if it's headed down, if there's any big news going on. Like, it wasn't too long ago, we had a big platform called Celsius that kind of went out of business, that went bankrupt. So, it was easy to put in the title, Celsius goes bankrupt. What am I doing about it? And then once I'm on there and I'm going through that news blurb and talking for 5 or 10 minutes about how I'm handling that, then from there, if I got some engagement and I've got some people talking to me, I can branch out from there onto any topic. But I always make sure that I cover the topic in the title for that first 10 minutes or so of the video.
Okay, good. Well, cool. I appreciate you explaining that. And yeah, definitely is, depending on how hot the topic is, definitely makes it a lot easier to talk about for sure. And that's interesting. And it makes sense. I know some of the other platforms, seems like live videos are actually given more weight, if you will. So it means that the algorithms will push it out a little bit more for a live video because it's organic to that platform versus a prepared one. But you're right, with YouTube being the second most used search engine, Google obviously being first there, that seems like people go search more on YouTube versus just to watch a live stream, unless if you got, which you do have a good following. But if they're not always on whenever you're doing those live streams, it's obviously makes it a difficult thing. So it's very interesting there. And just for my own curiosity, I've noticed, and it's been kind of hit or miss, which pretty much seems like with any short form video content, but with Reels, how do you feel about Reels? I mean, obviously it's hard to talk in depth about anything, but have you used Reels at all on YouTube?
Yeah, so that's something that I'm working harder on. Like you, the editing part of things is not my forte. I'm 49 years old. I was out of school before they really started teaching that stuff. And so what I'm doing now is I'm creating a video on TikTok, and then I will turn that into an Instagram story or an Instagram reel, a Facebook reel, although the time wise, it's a little bit different. Like on TikTok, I can do 1 minute, where I believe it's Facebook reels are only 30 seconds. So sometimes I have to cut them up, but I am starting to try to take some of my content and shorten it down into that 30-second, 1 minute, and blast it out onto all of the different socials. Kind of in my case, I'm funneling people back to the YouTube channel. So when I do a TikTok video, I always put a little something in it, editing wise, Infinite Crypto YouTube channel and that kind of stuff, hoping to bring people to the YouTube channel. I also have a Facebook group now that I'm doing. And somewhat like you mentioned with a group coaching, I am working into a group coaching situation. So right now I do a pretty good amount of one-on-one consultations, but that's not cost effective for a lot of people. And so in order to kind of help the masses, I want to be able to help that hardworking single mom that that doesn't have 250 an hour to pay me. And so by creating a group coaching atmosphere that's more of a subscription based, that's kind of opening up my world to a whole new audience of people. So so a lot of my TikToks and Instagrams are now kind of pointing people towards that free Facebook group, get them in and really show them some quality content and get them some education and show them a lot of value, and then move them into the subscription based coaching business.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that's a great way to go about that. And it's kind of what I do. The same thing, posting the videos on social media to get them intrigued, get them into the free Facebook group. And then from there, yeah, go to group coaching because, yeah, that one on one coaching, while it's great, you can give people great information. Not everybody can afford it. And then also, it's not scalable for your own time. And just like you, I'm all about trying to give people as much value as possible so I can impact more people through group coaching than I can from one-on-one coaching as well. So that's another reason why I love group coaching, because then you kind of get that group tank. You're helping more people than one at a time. So it's not about the money per se. Obviously that's a factor in there, but it's more about being able to help more of the masses, because then as we teach the things that we teach, they can go out and be able to help other people out or change their lives. I mean, that's what you talked about. And I think it's awesome that you were able to retire your wife and everything with crypto, which is really cool and shows the power of cryptocurrency and the crypto technology, blockchain chain technology and everything that's coming out, and all the different aspects of that. And obviously I'm no expert in that. So definitely gonna go subscribe to your YouTube channel after this and talk about and see about that and learn more about that. And we'll definitely get on some coaching calls and everything, because it's definitely something I'm interested in learning more about, because it's not going away. Yeah, I think we're seeing the craziness going on right now that, yeah, they're trying to push it down, but usually when they, being the government, tries to push something down, it's because they're afraid of it. And so it's definitely
Amen.
something to get more invested in and learn more about for sure. But
I love it, and
Brett,
I look forward very much forward to working with you.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. But hey, I got one last question to ask you here. If you could only share one message for the rest of your life, what would that be?
All right, you told me that this might be coming, so I've been thinking about it, and it kind of has to go back to, if you go to my YouTube channel and you read my bio, it says freedom is our war cry. If you're
Mm,
tired of bosses and clients and other people calling the shots, having to ask to take a vacation and all of those kinds of things, take a look at my channel, because we're all about helping people create freedom. So everybody feels a little bit differently about it, but I don't believe that we were put here on this earth to work for somebody else for 40, 50, 60 hours a week of our lives to just barely get by. I'm seeing people in my own family that are hurting because of the gas prices and the food prices and all of those types of things. And although I believe in taking personal responsibility, and there's some things that they could be doing differently, there's some choices that maybe they could have made differently. At the same time, they're also getting, from the time that you're old enough to listen to people, what do you get told your whole life? Go to school, get a good
mm,
education, and get a good job. And unfortunately, we've all been lied to. That
yeah.
is not the way to enjoy life the way that I believe my God put me on here on this earth to
Mm,
enjoy life. And so my goal is to help people, awaken people. I very much believe that there's a lot of 30, 40-year-old people that have basically given up on life. They got one foot in the grave, and they're just going to live for another 40 or 50 years before their body catches up with them. But I know that those people can be awakened, that there's a lot of those people out there that something comes along and inspires them to start dreaming again. When we were young, we had dreams. So many 30, 40, 50 year olds out there, they don't dream anymore. They just go to
no.
work, they come home, go to work, come home. And my whole reason, I think, for being on this earth is to hopefully help as many people get out of that mindset and change their lives. Because I'm telling you, if you haven't lived where there's 6 Saturdays and a Sunday, you ain't lived. And when you've got kids, your kids want to spend time with you. They don't want to spend time with the babysitter. They don't want to spend time with the daycare. They want you to take them to football practice and watch them, not have some stranger or some friend of the family taking them. And so for me, it's not about the things. I love vacations more than I love cars and houses, because on my vacations, I'm creating memories with the ones that I love. So for me, it is about the being able to take my kids to school and pick them up. It's about when my daughter, getting ready to go off to college, to be able to go get her set up, and just all of those things that if you've got a job and your boss needs you there, you have to say no to so many things. So I'm just passionate about helping people to have choices and to be able to do what they want to do.
I love that. It's such a great thing, and I resonate with that because that to me that's very similar to what I think about. What I would talk about is really just by living that example of you can be anything you want to be. So really close to the same thing, because in my mind as well, yeah, why stay in a job that you hate, a job that isn't bringing you passion and joy? I mean, not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur, but find something that you enjoy. Don't stay in that job. Yeah, like you said, having one foot in the grave, waiting for your body to catch up to put the other foot in. Go find
Absolutely.
something that you truly love, because it's okay if you only make like 40, 50, 60,000 a year. If you're happy, if you have that time, the balance for yourself that you can have with your family, and you're living out those desires you have. But don't let just because, oh, well, this is what I've got, or I have this degree, this education, I've just got to do this. Don't let that hold you back. Go do what you want to do. At the end of the day, the experience is what matters more than anything. To go get a job, somebody will give you a chance. You just got to keep trying, and you got to go create that experience for yourself. And so, yeah, I resonate with that message a lot that you have there, and I appreciate you sharing that.
Absolutely. And in today's day and age, there's so many opportunities. And like you were talking about, you don't have to quit your job to do
Mhm.
something that you're passionate about. There's so many things that you can do in your off hours, on the weekends, that can make, a lot of money, including just investing. But a lot of
Yeah.
people that I talk to, they're like, well, okay, I would love to invest in cryptocurrency, but right now I'm making about $150 a month less than I need to live. So how am I going to do that? And
Mm.
that's kind of where there's a will, there's a way. Instead of coming home and popping open a Budweiser and watching Netflix for 4 or 5 hours, hop into your car and do some Ubering.
Yeah.
Get onto one of these live streams, YouTube, Twitch. There's vlogs. If you like to write, you can create a vlog. Gary Vaynerchuk, I really like Gary V a lot. He talks about going to garage sales on the weekends, and he's able to make, several $100s extra on the weekend, just buying stuff that people are almost giving away and then throwing it up on Craigslist or offer up. So it comes back to the desire. And I think both of
Mhm.
us, that a lot of people don't even realize it's there until it gets reawakened. But once it gets awakened, you will find something that you love, that you're passionate about. And so often, eventually it will overtake your job income, and you will have the choice. And that's what it's all about. If you love your job and you want to do it, and you want your job, no matter how much money you have, more power to you. But at least this gives you the choice to decide.
Yeah, yeah. That goes back to that hunger, staying in that job. It kind of keeps that hunger, but it's the same thing when you're out of that job, or if you're struggling to make ends meet. Are you hungry enough? Not, I mean, even literally it could be, but are you hungry enough to go make something happen? And too often people aren't hungry enough. They'd rather just sit there in their sorrows and, oh, I just can't make it. Oh, things are terrible. Yeah, like you said, you could go Uber, you go to garage sales and find things. There's ways to make extra money. I mean, we know plenty of people that are always looking for some extra help in the groups we're a part of. And there's always businesses looking for an extra hand on the weekends or maybe at nights.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just got to put in that extra work. It's not fun. It sucks, but it also sucks a lot to not be able to pay all your bills. It sucks to not have that extra money to go invest, because if you go invest in this now, 5 years from now, maybe, or however long it takes, things will change, your life will change. But are you willing to go through the suck of making yourself uncomfortable, or would you rather
Yep.
stay in the suck of just being uncomfortable because that's what life's giving you right now? So you could choose your suck. I promise the one that you actually go and do something about it and make things suck is going to be a lot better in the long run than just letting life suck for you.
I agree 100%.
Brad, I appreciate you coming on, talking a lot about YouTube and the different aspects of that. I actually haven't had anybody come out and talk about that. I know it's not necessarily direct public speaking, but with the live videos that is, and in my mind, doing social media posts will help you prepare for public speaking, because if you can do a video, you can get in front of an audience eventually. It's obviously different, but still you're learning how to formulate your thoughts into a message and share that message. But if people want to get to know you, follow you, where's the best place for them to go?
On YouTube, you can search me at Infinite Crypto, pops right up. I'm sure that you'll get some of the links and throw them into the description too. I'm on Twitter at Crypto Brad V. So that's V like in Victor, my last name, Crypto Brad V on Twitter. And yeah, I would love to see you guys. And thank you so much for having me, Philip. And let's get you on my channel. I think that my viewers would really get a lot of value from your mindset and from, learning, public speaking is such an amazing skill that you can use in so many different ways. Even if you don't want to be a public speaker, it can, better your life. So I would love to have
Oh
you on
yeah.
my channel one of these days soon too.
All right, that sounds great. And I appreciate you coming on, but I would agree public speaking impacts every area of your life. People often think about just being on stage, but giving presentations at work, having a conversation like this. Actually, I went through an interview for work the other day, and I still have my 9 to 5. And one of the guys was like, "Man, you actually interviewed very well." He's like, I knew you were going to do good, but I didn't expect you to do as well as you did. And now I know podcasting isn't public speaking per se, but because of podcasting, because of having conversations with people all the time, I was able to do really well at that interview. So if I hadn't been practicing and speaking in some kind of public manner, or just speaking in general, that interview wouldn't have went as well as it did. And so, yeah, public speaking impacts so many areas of your life. And a lot of people underestimate the power of being able to speak good in public. But yeah, I'd love to come on the podcast, but I do appreciate you coming on here and sharing that value, sharing about what YouTube is, how that works. And I know we didn't get into crypto too much, but yeah, if you wanted to check out some more of that crypto, Brad, as you can tell, is a very kind, generous man. He'll be willing to teach you anything he can and help you, because he's all about just giving you that freedom. He's not one of those people that want you to invest in this random token coin and then you put all this money in and then basically he gets all the money because he created the token or anything crazy like that. He's just a genuine, honest guy and just wants to help everybody out.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, y'all take care and we'll talk to you later.